Hello, everyone. Oh my gracious. What the goodness is. The goodness is good. That's what it is. And yeah, I wanted to come on here and speak about. Earlier, I went and did a live video, and I don't know why it didn't like stick or something like that. It didn't like get saved. Hopefully, this one does. I mentioned it first and mentioned it again that I saw the movie Disclosure Day the other day. I went to the movies with my father. Been able to connect to my parents a little more recently. Glad for that, for sure. And yeah, the movie touched me, and I enjoyed it. Also, I thought it was kind of, if I think about it, it's sort of silly and kind of dumb, but it made me cry at some point. And the point that it made me cry is that like in the movie, the whole world has got the news of like war and tension going on, and then they have this way that they uh, disclose or expose that aliens have been here for a long time and that they actually mean well, basically. And uh, the whole world changes its attention from you know fighting and stuff like that to this disclosure, and it made me very emotional in a way. I know that I have that aim, a wish for us that we could, and I know we can. I believe we can. There's things I do believe that cannot, but there's things I believe can happen. Actually, things like supposedly, according to history, the 4 minute mile. Supposedly, it was a thing that people thought couldn't. That people couldn't run a 4 minute mile. And supposedly, once one person did it, then they all could. It's like the 100th monkey effect too. There's a way that there's certain things that are kindergarten up levels that can happen that haven't happened yet. And along with this expression of me valuing um, that movie, I want to say about the movie that it starts. Maybe it's like exposing the farce that it is actually, because it starts with WWF or WWE, I think it's called nowadays, World Wrestling Federation. I don't know what WWE stands for, but it starts with this. Basically the camera's like a guy's face and a boot going in his face, but it's fake. WWF or WWE. Not saying that doesn't require strength. Not saying you can't enjoy it. When I was a kid, I was always like, I think that's fake, and I was surprised that people were like, nah, it's not. I was really surprised by that. So anyway, a certain value of mine is certainly intellectual honesty, hugely intellectual honesty, and that value is born intensely, intensely from it being compromised as a kid, being put in a position of uh, tribal scripts that the tribe that I was in was trying to convince me that were true for me. It's typical human stuff, basically. Actually, that kind of stuff is. I'm sure that most people throughout history have believed whatever their tribe sold and told them to to believe and buy. And from perspective of sincerity, myself as a for whatever reason, maybe because my little sister died when I was 5, I was really wanting to know what life was about. So I tried their experiment. They said, go out and tell people you believe in it, and then the spirit will prove to you that what you're saying is true. As a kid, I was smart enough to ask, but isn't that like a self-fulfilling prophecy? I'd say to the authorities who were doing these intense things to me about these worthiness interviews. It's like a whole other Pandora's box to speak about, maybe in this video, but probably not. But you know, they'd ask me, "Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that?" And I'd always say, "Man, I don't know, but I'm trying." And then they would testify to me with sincerity, staring me in the eye, you know, "I know," or something like that, intensely. And I would be like, "But what if you're just doing the same thing you've always done? Like you're just trying to say that so that you believe it?" And they'd say, "Well, you'll never know until you try." And I was like, I guess that makes sense. So actually, honestly, a scientifically minded mind as a kid, knowing I didn't know. I knew that people weren't really trying the experiment, so I tried it. And I knew that people who didn't believe in it, I thought, maybe if they really try it, they'll believe in it. Meanwhile, I was having like behind the scenes doubts about it. Anyway, a high value of mine is intellectual honesty. And being practical in the practice world, the world of practicalities, the practice world, practically speaking, like another high value of mine is reflected in this beautiful song. It goes like this: all I want from you is to forever remember me as loving you. All I want from you is to forever remember me as loving you. So what a beautiful song this is, right? Gorgeous. What a nice meaning. What a meaningful meaning to give in the moment, in the immediacy. And I know I believe in the intent of this, that underneath everything, like nothing is your fault. Forgive them for they know not what they do. Actually, everyone's doing the best they can with what they believe they have, even if you can see that they could do better. For whatever reason, they don't think they have the will to, or something. We meet people where they're at. We know where they're spinning their wheels in the dirt. We can see sometimes, like that's where they're at. Like we meet people where they're at. We sing the songs they sing. Sometimes we sprinkle stardust above them and have them, hey, reach up for that thing right there. Maybe we put a little fire in their ass. Say, hey man, just to be honest, you keep doing that, I think you're going to get some egg on your face and be embarrassed, something like that. But yeah, it's not fault. Fault. Fault implies like some sort of guilt, and all I want from you is to forever remember me as loving you. That's like a deep truth that I want to ingrain wholly and fully. But also, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And speaking about that responsibility, that ability to respond, distinguishing that word fault from responsibility, often they're conflated with one another, is like a empowering thing. Your ability to respond, practically speaking, in the practical world, practically, as best you can, actually. You know, um, let's see here. I posted this video a few days ago of me speaking about this thing from a Course in Miracles. Ideas leave not their source. And in this meditation or consideration from A Course in Miracles, of course, that means that in A Course in Miracles, like this is a Joey thought in the mind of God, and you are whatever your name is, thought in the mind of God. And I'm holding a phone thought in my hand, and I'm walking on the street thought. These are they're just only. They're only just, justly they are like considerations. And yeah, a thought in that like expression of ideas leave not their source on this course, of course, means that it says that this is the reason that you will never die. And it sounds pretty, who you are perhaps is life, and that never dies. But I also believe that Joey, does. He will. I believe my sister did. I believe that I didn't know that people died. That was like thrust upon me. I was shocked and surprised when I was 5 that my little sister died. I was linguistically very advanced as a kid, and I was like, people just don't come back suddenly. I do believe that this is so in the practical world, practically speaking. How to be practical with the practical world, in the practice world, that we all believe, hey, we're all going to die. I remember during the pandemic, I went into the grocery store. Everybody was all afraid and stuff like that. And they had turned the music off, which made it more ominous than normal, which was interesting. Everybody was afraid of breathing on each other or getting breathed on. Not everybody, but there was this general tension. And I just found myself at the grocery store with my cart facing the produce section, and uh, suddenly taking the cart and going, boom, boom, boom. Everybody looked at me, and as I did it, I said, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay." And everybody was like, "Oh shit, scary dude," understandably. But also, I had everybody in the grocery store that worked there knew me, so they were like the fact that they were in the produce section and they were not freaked out by this kind of created a sense of safety around me, and I was like, we're all gonna die. And which was like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, we're all gonna die. It was a birth thing, y'all. From the time we were born, every memory may be our last, every breath our last. Let's make it a good one. Let's act inspiredly. Let's be forgiving, be compassionate. Happy pandemic. And I turned around and went away, and from then on I was on a bit of a rampage during the pandemic. A rampage about what was it about? The happy pandemic, basically. Happy pandemic, happy pandemic, happy pandemic. And occasionally it would cause some trouble, it would stir some things. Almost always actually, I think always when it caused some trouble, when people were like, "How dare you say that?" There'd be moments when they would say that I'd be a little bit afraid of what it might create because they would get pissed. But by the end, actually, it was really cool what would happen. Like, interestingly, the karma would reveal itself, and it was just miraculous. Actually, no, those are different. Those are whole other stories too that might be said to you in another video from me, perhaps. Actually, so why am I here? What is this expression for? Um, there's something called alchemy, and alchemy is like generally like something like uh, turning shit into a flower, or poison into power, or lockdowns into open the fuck up, y'all. Open up, y'all. Open up. Open the flower up. Open up. Open up. Open up. And before the lockdowns, we were fairly very locked down. And um, one of the things I want to say is like embodiment. Like for whatever reason, protective reasons, actually, reasons I have compassion for, my family way overprotected me. Sort of in some ways pathologized me. Protected me with um, diagnoses, which I don't know if they were true, but I was a big time hustler as a kid, more than most kids, I actually think. I was fairly naturally big time hustler, just wanted to be out there flinging my body and throwing sports and stuff like that, actually. But I was not allowed, and I was put in special ed and um, in various ways, sort of kind of not allowed to be intelligent, not allowed to be strong or athletic, not allowed to make money. So, I've created a life that's been, despite that, late in life, bloomed to be. Now I can do handstands from a crow pose, and I developed a form of body work that's kind of like contact dance. Some people call it like boa constrictor body work. I use my feet, my shin, my knees, my hips, uh, my butt, depending, my elbows, my forearm, my hands, my chin, my head, my shoulders, and usually it's fully clothed, almost always. And there's a lot of interesting forms of communication. It can be that it's like a contact dance. It can be that it's like a wrestle. And speaking about wanting to be intellectually honest, wanting to be authentic and tell the truth, also not wanting to tell the truth in a way that hurts. There's like in the practical world, like mirroring that with the practice world. Like I had a yoga teacher once who said to me, who said to us that telling the truth in words isn't always the highest value. He made this point. He said, for instance, there was like maybe 900 people in the thing, and he goes, there was a man out back. He had a bunch of bombs in the back of his truck. He said, I'm looking for a place to use these where there's a bunch of people. He said, I told them, oh, there's nobody in here, really. And he goes, is that okay? Do you mind? And I think he makes a really good point when it comes to the practicalities. So, um, anyways, embodiment, there's there and being involved in our stories and being able to respond. I'm going to be going through the nation doing a free tour of talk, touch, listening, talk, touch, listening, movement, music, dancing, magic, and miracles. And we're going to take care of bodies. We're going to be teaching people who are embodied how to take care of other bodies that are a little bit disembodied, a little bit not quite in their bodies because of injuries or for whatever reason. Doesn't matter the reason. Full days of fun fitness for families and friends, a festive day in a location maybe close to you. And yeah, there is something about being embodied, which it's interesting. The more embodied you are, the more free you are with your body. The more disembodied people I know who are disembodied, they're actually stuck in their bodies. People who are actively engaged in their bodies aren't stuck in their bodies. They're more free with it. Um, Trying to remember, there was something I said in the video I made earlier today that was tied in with all this, but must not be. Well, it's not coming to mind, so I guess that's just fine. And yeah, so keep your eye out on this. If you can get up and get down, lay on your floor. Actually, that's like lay on your floor, wiggle around. Some people have trouble of getting up and down from even their floor, and then you'll have to find something more regressive, more backed up. And I've treated people who were 98 years old, and basically I would just get kind of underneath them often, like sitting behind them with them in my lap and me making them laugh and relaxing their shoulders a bit and asking them sincere questions about life and what they expect and what they're hoping for and what they think about this process they're in. And those people, obviously, they're not going to get up and down from the floor, so it's hard to say a general prescription on YouTube. But if you're at all kind of healthy, you can in any way create an open space in your living room or your bedroom with a little bit of a rug or some carpet, and lay down and kind of roll around a little bit comfortably, supporting yourself. This is a good idea for many people. Many people, great idea for embodiment. And keep an eye out for the free tour of Talk, Touch, Listening, Movement, Music, Dancing, Magic, and Miracles, wherein we're going to mostly teach about talk, touch, listening, and movement, balance, and locomotion, basically. So yeah, thanks for listening. Chime in below. Have me know. What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about what I'm saying? Yeah. Interestingly, I want to say that's that Disclosure movie, um, and that kayfabe thing. Kayfabe is a word that comes from WWF, which means never coming out of character, always staying in character. Like Hulk Hogan, when he agreed to be Hulk Hogan, he was supposed to always be Hulk Hogan while he was under contract, even when he was in the grocery store or something like that. And then regarding the fact that supposedly this movie's about disclosure, there's just something about intellectual honesty that we could say when things are on the screens. It's important to know that we don't know about them, actually. I'm not being dishonest when I say that I am walking down the road talking to a phone, spreading a message of whatever I'm spreading. This is not dishonest, but I might be dreaming. It might be in a bed somewhere, actually. It might be that I wake up and I said, oh man, I thought I was walking around this little town just now, spreading a message about intellectual honesty and being practical or something like that. But really, I was just asleep in a bed. But I'm not lying. I'm not anything. It's nothing like exaggeration. It's nothing like a jump to conclusion. Compared to if I say something like of what's happening on the news, if I pretend I know what really 9/11 was about or is about, actually I don't know. I know I don't. Even if I talk to somebody who says I have first-hand account, I was there. I know I don't know. I know that somebody is telling me that. Like I know that I'm talking to you, and I'm not lying that somebody's telling me that. Maybe. Like I know that I'm not lying about talking on YouTube right now. But again, even that might not be true. It might be a dream in some way. There was a Christian missionary who went to people in a tribe in the Amazon. They asked him, I think this was either in the 50s or 60s, and they asked him, hey, this Jesus guy you're telling us about, does he have more white skin like you or more dark skin like us? He wasn't a racist guy. He said fairly, well, we don't really know, but he did live in the Middle East, so it's probably darker than me. He was like a Northern European guy. Daniel Everett is his name. And they said, oh, you never met him? And he goes, no, I never met him. And they very matter-of-factly kind of quickly said, okay, well, what did your father say? And he said, well, my father never met him either. And they're like, wait a minute, you're saying you never met him? He's like, yeah. And then they're like, and your father never met him? He's like, yeah. And then they're apparently, according to him, they just sort of busted out laughing. They're like, well, what are you doing telling us about him? Because from their perspective, like they have this way that's more intellectually honest than our language. Their grammar forces them to be more intellectually honest than our language allows us to be abstract, actually. So when they make a claim in their grammar, is anytime they make a claim, it's always, and they don't have to say this clunkiness, it's just always in there. It's something like, and I know that via direct experience, or, and I know that via hearsay, or, and I know that via inference. And, you know, they're always making that claim. Of course, maybe they may lie about which of those three tracks it's on. I don't know. It might be that just because of the way the nature of resource sharing is that they actually never lie about one of those three tracks, or rarely, or something, or maybe they make mistakes. Who knows? I don't know, but I do know that idea of us claiming, and I know it's hard for us to do, and I know that via direct experience, and I know that via inference, and I know that via hearsay. It's extra clunkiness, but it makes them more honest. That extra clunkiness that they don't have to have the clunkiness. It's just automatically in there, and for us, we kind of need it, especially when there's like a meaning crisis. There's been like a collection of micro manipulations, maybe, or something like that, since the scientific process started. Like reasons for why people are specifically studying things in specific directions and stuff. But anyways, obviously, speaking is a part of intellectual honesty, and so too is the geometry of our bodies and the possibility of us, like monkeys, being able to serve each other. When monkeys they're hanging out and they're picking bugs off each other, we can do that with each other. Hey, I noticed while you're talking about your sister that your shoulder there. Hey, do you mind if I work on that there? Oh yeah, right there, a little lower. Okay, a little lower. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, can you give me a break? Oh yeah, for sure. We can integrate this, and that's what the tour will be about. The free tour of talk, touch, listening, movement, music, dancing, magic, and miracles. Check it out, or look out for this. This is coming to a town near you. Big service to who our future can be. Response ably, able to respond to the dynamics of reality, the geometry of our bodies, and the meaning of our speaking. Okay, okay. Big hugs. Big hugs. Much love.